Hi, this is Mike Holmes at ReachKeep.com with 5 Minutes to Better Sundays, and we're going to touch on a great topic here today, one that you're very familiar with, one that will help you have better Sundays, and that is to have better sermons. Now, how can we improve sermons in just 5 minutes? Well, sermons are one of those things that come down from God and inspired in your heart, and you bathe them in prayer and dive into the scriptures. So I don't want to get into the details of sermons, but if you want great, awesome Sundays, what you need is a group of people that are listening and pay attention to your sermons. And so I want to talk about what I would call sermon helpers. And the very easiest, biggest one is what I have right here, are just what I call sermon notes. This is the idea of having a handout, and these are just, we fold these in half, kind of like a bulletin type thing. We have our bulletin on the inside, and these help people retain the retention and attention. And let me just explain something. If you just listen to something, your hearing level is like this big. If you listen to something and see something, your hearing level is this big. But if you listen and see it and then touch things, your retention is way, way big. And that's what happens with sermon notes when you get people to fill in the blanks. Now, these are not easy to do, and I know this is kind of a touchy subject, getting into people's sermons. But basically what I do is I prepare my entire sermon, have all my notes, have everything completed. Then I take some time to go back through and think, how would this best be presented to the people? And I look at it from their perspective, and I kind of sort of repave the path in a sense, kind of make it a little bit smoother. And I want to show you just a couple of the things that I do that work for me, and I know that these would be helpful for you too. Now, starting out on the computer here, I have some sermon notes right here. This is from when I preached the entire book of Ruth in one message a while back, around Mother's Day is what it was. And all of this is just fill in the blank. And I had a theme, and I have, step 1, step 2, 3, 4, 5, a conclusion. Today I need to, and today I need to. And those were kind of my invitation type things that I went off with, or my kind of call to action. So very simple. I just took my message and I turned it into some simple steps, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I put those onto a piece of paper like this that everybody got. And I do this for every single message, every single Sunday. And it really increases and makes Sundays better because you have people really paying attention and filling in the blanks. And I say, now that first blank under step 1 is blank, blank, and I tell them exactly what it is. Let me jump to another one here. This one's just a little bit more elaborate, and you don't always have to fill in blanks in just like write a verse, for God so loved the blank, and have everyone write the word world in there. Sometimes you can do things like this. I have a thank you box. We talked about how to have peace while you're under pressure, and had them write down some thank you things. Had some more blanks here, some ABC, had some review stuff, and then I had kind of a grid. And I have found that people really like the grids. It gives the thought process gets really kind of put into a this and this, this and this, this and this. It makes it very simple for them to follow and to obey if that's where you're going with that thing, or pay attention to do whatever it happens to be. Let me give you another one here. This is just another one where I have a lot of scriptures in here. I had verses and I fill in the blank right there. Another set of verses here, and then just some real simple one-word answers. And by taking my message and making it into, this is on Mary. Mary was related to David. She was a cousin of Elizabeth. She lived in Nazareth. It's just some very basic review, but it gets people in the mode of writing things down and paying attention. Letter D, she was visited by who? Gabriel, very good. Okay, and so I really solicit my crowd, and I keep my crowd with me, an important thing. And so your sermon notes are really a powerful thing. We do them on our bulletins. Basically, the bulletin information would be on the inside, and the sermon notes would be on the outside. Here's another thing, like on this particular one. I was speaking on Romans 8. And you can see there's a big blank there. There's some text or some verses and verses and application, very blank. Probably I was not quite sure exactly where I was going. I said, I'll just film to fill this in. So you can do that with notes like that. You don't have to have everything perfect. There's a lot of flexibility. At the bottom here, this particular thing here is an important thing I like to put on the notes, and that is it tells you what is going on the next week. So next week we'll continue our study in Romans 8. Please read all the way up to verse 30. And so I kind of let them know, and then I asked them question: what does it mean to glorify God? How do all things work for good? What does God want me to become? What is predestination? Don't miss it. It's going to be a great sermon. So kind of letting people know you can do that on your notes as well. Now, what does that look like for me while I'm speaking? And here's a lesson that's very important, and I'll just wrap up with this. If you're going to do sermon notes and have people following along, you do not want to preach off of a manuscript or a lengthy typed up type of a thing, or even an iPad. People do it off of that. You want to teach off the exact same thing that they're getting. So like these are my sermon notes that people get, but theirs are just blank. And I go back through then, rewrite my sermon, and put it into the notes so that we are connected. So I'm not like 5 points down and I forgot to tell them to fill in the blank. Let me just give you, I took a couple pictures of one here. This is one here that had to do with, how to prevent marriage pressures and stuff. And this is what my notes look like. I mean, I preached off of this whole thing. I had them fill these boxes in. I had them say, look, there's a male, there's a female, you get closer to God, you get closer together. It was a very simple message that I did, powerful one. Here's another one. This is what, a little bit more typical, what my notes would look like there. How to have peace under pressure. And I highlight some things and I put some notes in the side and all there. But I teach off the exact same thing, because if you want to make better Sundays, you get your heart, which should be on fire for God, and you get their hearts and put them on fire for God. And you got to be on the same page. And if you've ever preached a message and people are kind of not paying attention, this will help bring them back. I want to encourage you to give it a try. It takes a while to do it. Once you get in the habit, it's not that hard to do. I have my sermons all done ahead of time in the week, and then on Friday, Saturday, kind of go through and kind of create and kind of massage it a little bit and make it kind of fit onto the 2 pages the way that I have it there, and it works great. I also create study questions that are on the flip side of this where they can take those home. So if you want to have some great Sundays, there's a lot of things you can do, but if you can have your congregation connected to you through the sermon, then when the sermon is over, people are asking questions or saying, what did you mean by that? And could I get that blank? And I missed that one. And you really get to bond with people. And then we do Bible studies off of these sermons later in the week as well. That's a whole nother, that's how to have a great week, not just a great Sunday. So anyway, this is Mike at reachkeep.com on how to have better Sundays. If you'd like to subscribe to this, you can click that little subscribe button right there. That'll be great. You can follow the links and get onto our mailing list, and we'll be in touch with you. But we just want to do everything we can to have the best Sundays possible. So God bless you. This is Mike at reachkeep.com.